Hello, YouTubers. Are you still paying federal income tax on your wages that you earned from your labor as a USA citizen living in the United States? Then why? There's no IRS code that states that you must pay if you are a USA citizen or a legal resident of the United States to pay wages, taxes on federal income tax on your wages. Now, let's take a look at this. Just check off exempt status on your W-4 form and watch the video called Most Americans Do Not Owe Income Tax. Explains it very clearly. Let's take a look at the second page. You must be an American citizen living in the United States and or a legal resident of the United States living in the United States. There is no IRS code that says that you are liable to pay federal income tax on your wages that you earn from your labor, which is considered private property and not subject to a direct tax. Here's a form. It's addressed to any IRS agent. And the idea is this form states that if they believe that you do owe a federal income tax on your labor, then they should go ahead and sign the form and have it notarized and mail it back to you. They will never do that. They will never sign this form because they know that there is no IRS tax codes that state that you are liable to pay federal income tax on your labor, which is considered private property, and they will not sign it and they will not provide you with that IRS code law because it does not exist. Let's take a look at this next one. This is a sworn oath. It can be signed by you. You must be a USA citizen of the United States or a legal resident of the United States, and you must be working in the United States and living in the United States. There is no IRS codes that state that you are liable to pay federal income tax on your labor, which is considered private property. You can send this form to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, sign it, notarize it, send it to IRS in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so they have it on record that you are a USA citizen or a legal resident of the United States. Now, take a look at some of the, let's take a look at some of the Supreme Court decisions. Just for fun, let's take a look at some Supreme Court decisions. If there's no gain, there's no income. Congress has taxed income, not compensation. This is decided by the United States Supreme Court of Connor versus United States. Furthermore, no capitation of other direct taxes shall be laid unless in proportion to the census of enumeration herein before directed to be taken. Article 1, Section 9, Clause, United States Constitution. That basically says no direct tax. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among several states. Okay, that's just saying that no direct tax again. This is a good one. Because of what appears to be a lawful command on the surface, many citizens believe of their respect for what appears to be law are cunningly coerced into waiving their rights due to ignorance. Supreme Court decision, United States versus Minker. This basically says that if you sign a tax return that states on the bottom, under penalties of perjury, then you are waiving your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. You need to write to the Internal Revenue Service and request a revised tax return form that does not contain the words under penalties of perjury. They will never send you that form, and until they do, you do not need to fill out any tax return forms, because this United States versus Minker says you shall not self-incriminate yourself. You shall not waive your Fifth Amendment rights. So you need to have a revised tax return form that says that does not have the words under penalties of perjury. And you can request that revised tax return form from the Internal Revenue Service. They will never send it to you. So until they do, why would you want to self-incriminate yourself? Why would you want to even file a tax return? Let's take a look at the last one. Supreme Court decision of 1916, United States Constitution does not allow direct tax. And the 16th Amendment starts off. The proportion and contentions, that one, it just says Supreme Court of Bruce-Shaber versus Union Pacific. It just says no direct tax on wages. If you want to really get more further details on the on not paying federal income tax on your wages that you earn from your labor, which is private property, then I suggest just watch the YouTube video called "Most Americans Do Not Owe Income Tax." They give a very good, detailed explanation of why you, as a USA citizen living in the United States or a legal resident of the United States, do not owe any federal income tax on your labor. There is no IRS code that says this. The IRS knows this, and when you write a question to the IRS stating that you want them to, you want to know if you are liable to pay federal income tax on your labor, they will send you a letter back. The letter they send back will say, "We are researching your question. Give us 60 days and we'll get back to you." I have done this. I have waited 1 year. They have not given me the liability tax code that I'm seeking. It doesn't exist. They will stall and stall forever. Even in court, they will say they are still researching for an answer to your liability question. You need to present a form in front of the jury to have the IRS sign the form stating that you are liable, which is not true. You are not liable. But if the form states that you are liable, they will never sign this. The form also says that they need to provide proof that the IRS Code of Liability law exists. They cannot provide that proof that it exists. It does not exist. Let's take a look at this form one more time. This form is for the IRS agent. He needs to sign this in front of a jury, and he needs to provide the proof that the IRS Code law exists. His failure to provide the IRS Code of Liability that your labor is taxable, and his failure to sign this form in front of a jury will automatically allow the jury to give you the judgment. It cost about $130 to file a lawsuit of a USA citizen or legal resident against the IRS in a federal court. You just have to show this form to the jury and then present it to the IRS counselor and ask for his signature and ask for proof that the IRS Code law of liability does exist, which it does not. He will not provide that IRS code. He will not sign this. The jury will see that he will not sign it. The jury will see that he cannot provide any IRS codes of liability for the USA citizen living in the United States or the legal resident living in the United States and working using their labor. I would just go ahead and check off exempt status on your W-4 form from here on and just keep that with your employer, and to try to get your back taxes that you have overpaid, you need to just contact your tax preparer, like for example H&R Block, and tell them that you're exempt from paying federal income tax on your wages. And even after they prepare the tax return that says that you're exempt, it still contains those words under penalties of perjury at the bottom. Why would you want to sign that? Supreme Court has already said you should not do that. You should not waive your Fifth Amendment rights. So you need to get the revised tax return from the IRS that says that does not contain the words under penalties of perjury. They will never send that revised tax return form. So therefore, there's a problem. How can you file your income tax return when the Supreme Court tells you not to? They say do not waive your Fifth Amendment rights. I'm going to close it there. Just watch the video that I mentioned earlier. Take care. Bye.